Welcome back, friends. Today's headlines are nothing short of surreal. Putin says he wants peace talks, then bombs Odessa. Russia claims interest in ceasefire, right after killing civilians in Zaporizhzhia. So what's going on here? Is Moscow suddenly turning diplomatic? Or is this just another mask hiding the same brutal agenda? Let's break it down. In a rare moment of rhetorical shift, Vladimir Putin has said he's open to bilateral talks with Ukraine. That's a change. Until now, he insisted President Zelensky had to be replaced before negotiations could even begin.
As we have always said, we look positively at any peace initiatives. We hope that the representatives of the Kyiv regime will also feel the same way. However, we have seen the initial reaction. I think everyone has noticed it. There was a statement published according to which our proposal was seen as a game with fates, with people's lives, and so on. But apparently there was someone smarter there who suggested, most likely from foreign overseers, that rejecting such initiatives is a losing position for the Kyiv regime, and they quickly agreed.
But before we pop any champagne, here's what happened next. Over the past 24 hours, Russian attacks have killed at least 6 civilians across Ukraine. The Kharkiv, Kherson, Zaporizhzhia, and Sumy regions all hit. Once again, Moscow speaks of peace while firing missiles. It's a two-faced strategy we Ukrainians know all too well. And while Putin mouths words like peace initiatives, his spokesperson Dmitry Peskov immediately diluted the message, claiming civilian infrastructure might still be fair game if it's used militarily. This is the same twisted logic that's allowed Russia to bomb hospitals, power plants, and water systems under the pretense of military necessity. One of the most devastating strikes came in the city of Zaporizhzhia, where 2 Russian-guided aerial bombs struck a densely populated neighborhood this morning. Yes, this is the city where I live. I heard today's explosions. I personally witnessed the destruction. 1 woman was killed. At least 22 others were injured, including children. The strikes also damaged residential buildings and a critical infrastructure facility. The attack hit just before noon, broad daylight, in a city that, before Russia's full-scale invasion, was home to over 700,000 people. This is not collateral damage. This is the intentional targeting of civilians. Russia has turned Zaporizhzhia into a testing ground for terror, using bombs not only to destroy, but to exhaust, to traumatize our people into submission. But here's the truth. We do not submit. We rebuild. We treat the wounded. We mourn our dead. And we keep fighting for our homes, our children, and our freedom. So what's really behind this sudden shift in tone? From where we stand, this isn't a peace overture. It's a pressure play. Putin's change in rhetoric comes just as Ukraine, the US, UK, and France prepare for ceasefire talks in London. Reports suggest Washington is growing impatient, pressing Kyiv to consider at least some form of truce. Moscow smells this tension and is trying to exploit it. The Kremlin wants to appear reasonable to Western audiences, especially as Donald Trump's potential return to the White House looms. French officials even called Putin's brief Easter truce a charm offensive aimed squarely at Trump, an attempt to market the Russian side as peace-seeking, while laying groundwork for a potential diplomatic reset if U.S. leadership changes in November. In this context, talk of a bilateral dialogue with Kyiv isn't genuine diplomacy. It's a calculated maneuver designed to fracture Western unity and pressure Ukraine into unfavorable terms. So what are the options? First, Ukraine insists on accountability. President Zelensky has already offered to talk about halting attacks on civilian infrastructure, something any truly civilized nation should agree to. But Moscow continues to dodge, redefine, and distort the definition of civilian. Second, Western partners hold the line. London talks must center on Ukrainian conditions for peace, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and security guarantees. Any ceasefire without these pillars risks becoming another frozen conflict that Russia can exploit later. Third, the so-called reassurance force. The proposal for a European-led peacekeeping presence in Ukraine, possibly backed by the US, is gaining quiet momentum. If managed carefully, it could serve as both a deterrent and a symbol of enduring Western resolve, but only if it comes with real teeth. We Ukrainians are not afraid of peace. We fight for it every day. But peace must mean freedom, not surrender. And any negotiation must start with the truth. It is Russia that invaded, Russia that bombs our cities, and Russia that must be held accountable. Let's stay alert to the Kremlin's propaganda games. But even more importantly, let's stay united. Thanks for watching. If you found this analysis helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video to keep the conversation going. We'll be watching the London talks closely, so stay tuned for our next update.